boxing news.
The truth is, we've been talking to the PBC people all along. So we'll absolutely resume conversations next week after this fight, assuming Tank is successful on Saturday. But again, it won't be like the start of negotiations. We've been talking, or Carl Moretti has been talking with Louis DeCubas for a couple of weeks now about that fight, and hopefully we'll put it together expeditiously for sometime in November.
So there seems to be an effort to put Gervonta Davis in the ring with Vasyl Lomachenko later on this year, provided he takes care of business later today. And I think he's going to, based on what I saw at the weigh-in from Frank Martin, who looked dry, depleted, gaunt. You will notice that I didn't waste any time doing a prediction video, because what's to predict?
I'm not expecting any surprises. Are you?
I expect Gervonta's gonna knock him out. I never have to really think too hard about Gervonta Davis's fights based on how they match him and why they match him the way they match him. They only match him against guys.
They match him soft, and they match him against guys they think are safe.
Does that apply to a Vasyl Lomachenko fight? Well, let's put it this way. This is what Bob Arum has had to say about it. I haven't seen Calvin Ford, Coach Kenny Ellis, or Gervonta Davis himself confirm these talks have been happening behind the scenes. No, I haven't seen them confirm that.
We just heard Bob's end of it. We're gonna need confirmation from the other side to know that it's real.
But let's say that it is. If Gervonta Davis were to fight Vasyl Lomachenko later on this year, and he were to beat him, does he deserve credit? Would he get any credit from me?
No.
Absolutely not. Abso-fucking-lutely not.
Why?
Because you've waited so fucking long to fight this guy, you might as well not have fought him. What, 7 years? It's been 7 years.
2017 till now.
You've been avoiding this guy since 2017, 7 years later.
You could have fought this guy years ago at 130. You could have fought him years ago where you are now. You got up to 135 in 2019.
Right.
We're in 2024.
What would this be if not a textbook case of one fighter aging out the other? That you wait until the guy's in his mid to late 30s, he's lost a couple of fights, he's slowing down, and now you want to fight him.
When he's courting retirement.
And now you want to fight him. You ain't getting no brownie points for that.
3-star fight.
Here today, I look at Vasyl Lomachenko versus Gervonta Davis as a 3-star fight. What used to be a 4-star fight back when Vasyl Lomachenko was a younger man and he was in his prime.
This used to be a 4-star fight.
I don't look at it as a 4-star fight anymore, because it's not my imagination that Gervonta Davis and his team have been waiting for Vasyl Lomachenko to get older. That's not my imagination. That's not me connecting dots.
It's a fact.
Clear as day. Year after year, they put off the Vasyl Lomachenko fight.
So then how is it a 3-star fight? You categorize a 3-star fight as a solid fight.
It's solid, semi-solid, because both Vasyl Lomachenko and Gervonta Davis here today, they both are champions at the same weight. And I'm not actually all that big a believer in Gervonta Davis's boxing. I think he's one of the most protected fighters in the postmodern era. That there still is a chance of Vasyl Lomachenko in his mid to late 30s might beat him. There's a chance.
He still has a chance.
And that's an opinion. The reality of it is, if you do end up fighting him this year instead of previous years, it's because you were waiting for him to get older. And it's very obvious that's what you were waiting for. It's very obvious you were trying to age him out.
You wouldn't say that if it was Shakur Stevenson fighting Vasyl Lomachenko.
No, I wouldn't, because Shakur Stevenson's not the one who avoided him for 7 fucking years.
So then why do you say that about Gervonta Davis?
Because Gervonta's the one who avoided him for 7 fucking years. So you can fight him. You can fight him later on this year, but I'm not going to pretend you're doing that as a favor to me or a favor to the fans.
You're delivering for them?
You aged him out. You waited until he got older and slower when you thought it would be safe enough for you to beat him, because at 23, your handlers thought that you were too young for Vasyl Lomachenko. I didn't forget.
At 23 years old.
At 23 years old, Floyd Mayweather felt that Gervonta Davis was too young. Coincidentally, that's the same age Canelo was when he fought Floyd. So does that mean Canelo was too young for Floyd?
By that logic, it does.
Gervonta is a coward. The people who support him are cowards. They see their own cowardice in him.
Bitch.
What else is there in him to identify with if not degeneracy and cowardice?
Coward.
You can fight him. You can fight him in November. You can fight him in December. You're still a coward.
Coward.
The only one who gets credit for winning that fight is Vasyl Lomachenko.
Yep.
Not you.
Not with me.
Fuck you and your fans. The ones who beg day and night for Gervonta Davis to be accepted as one of the best fighters in the sport, dreaming that one day they may call him the face of boxing unanimously. Yeah, that's his fans.
As most don't.
You're not the face of boxing. You're the poster child for cowards.
But you can fight Loma later on this year if you want to, if that makes you feel real.
It doesn't fool me. I know what you did, Johnny come lately.
Why doesn't he fight Shakur?
Bob Arum had a couple of insights on that.
Davis has fights that are, at this point, much more lucrative. For example, against Lomachenko, that's a much bigger fight. If a fighter doesn't bring to the table eyeballs and people who will pay to see the match, it's really tough to make a big match for him.
And I would agree with that sentiment if he weren't fighting Frank Martin later on today. What does Frank Martin bring to the table that Shakur Stevenson does not?
What did Rolly bring to the table? Mario Barrios.
Bob's playing nice because he wants to do business with these people and orchestrate this fight for later on this year.
He won't say it.
I will. Gervonta's running short of options. You've already been there and done that with Ryan. Now you're fighting a nobody, and Frank, you need something bigger afterwards.
Lomachenko's gotten old enough and slowed down enough that you feel it's a safe fight.
And it's a fight with a bigger profile than tonight's fight. It's the only reason he would do it.
Coward.
And he can do it. He can do it. But he's not doing it as a favor to me or a favor to you.
I don't know that anybody with 2 functioning brain cells would give him full credit for waiting this long to fight this guy.
But he can do it.
Go ahead.
Elsewhere in the world of boxing, Clarissa Shields reacted to NutriBio's recent tweet, their recent response to Ryan Garcia's claim that the Osterin they found in his system came from their supplements.
Their test reveals that no other containers of that same lot number, that same batch, tested positive for Osterin.
Which hurts the credibility of Ryan's story, to which Clarissa Shields responded, "Y'all are real quiet, but the facts are in. And he is guilty."
It looks that way.
Ryan Garcia responded to Clarissa by saying, "Be quiet and make me a sandwich, baby."
Yeah.
To which Clarissa responded, "Be quiet and stop taking peds, little guy. You're talking about me making sandwiches, and in boxing, you can't hold a candle to me. Fuck around and get handled, punk. Clear your shit up."
He won't.
How many of the people that defended Ryan Garcia throughout all of this actually believed he was innocent? How many?
Maybe some of the younger ones and some of the ones that aren't familiar with the sport of boxing, they might have actually believed him.
Because they're not familiar with the sport and they don't know any better. All they know is that Ryan Garcia is their favorite fighter, and because he said something, they're gonna go along with it. That's enough for them. But what about the people that are familiar with the sport? Do you think they actually believed he was innocent?
Is that why they've defended him?
Ryan Garcia said, "Regardless, say what you want. There wasn't any amount of Osterin that could have helped me beat up Mr. Haney," to which Caleb Plant responded, "Then why did you take it?"
It didn't get in his system on its own.
And it didn't come from the supplements like Ryan Garcia said. NutriBio debunked that explanation. Ryan Garcia responded to Caleb Plant by saying, "Caleb Plant, I am not Charlo. Slap me, and you'll be sent into the shadow realm."
Ah, so you know that you can't just mouth off to this guy, because if you do, there's a good chance he'll smack the shit out of you like he smacked the shit out of Jamal.
You're aware.
Better watch your mouth.
Ryan continued, "Also, you have a very nice professional wife in Jordan. You need to chill, fam. She conducts herself real well while you act like an idiot."
You want to bring his wife into this.
Reading that, it feels like Ryan Garcia wanted to say something else, like what he says to other people about fucking their wives.
Because he says shit like that. He says that to other people.
He didn't say that about Jordan. I think that he knows better. I think that he knows if he crosses that line, Caleb won't hesitate to smack the shit out of him like he smacked the shit out of Jamal in front of all his friends. See, you're dealing with a grown man now, not some JV.
Pee-wee football kids and youngsters like what you used to.
This is grown-up stuff. grown man business? You brought his wife into this for some fucking reason.
It sounds like you wanted to say something else, but then you measured your words.
All this beating around the bush. It sounds like Clarissa and Caleb think Ryan cheated, that he took the Osterin and he took it deliberately. He knew exactly what he was doing. They think he cheated. Victor Conte thinks he cheated.
Don't bring up Victor Conte.
Why not?
Ryan's fans are going to get upset, and they're going to bring up how Victor Conte used to help athletes cheat.
That's all the more reason to bring him up. If a guy were cheating, he would know what methods they would use.
He's clued in.
Victor said, looks like Ryan Garcia has some explaining to do to boxing. Devin Haney, independent lab testing by Eurofins and BSCG confirms no Osterin found in NutraBio Supercarb, same lot number as Ryan's container, the one he sent in. NutraBio CEO Mark Glazier released the statement below regarding the allegations by Ryan Garcia, to which Devin responded he contaminated his own container and sent it in. Is nasty work.
That's how it looks.
Not because of anything Victor Conte said or did, not because of anything Devin Haney said or did, but because this is the protocol. If you're saying it came from contaminated supplements,
How come none of the other supplements from that same batch came back positive for Osterin?
that was your story, your explanation, that the Osterin they found in your system came from NutraBio Supercarb. So where are all the content creators that fancy themselves experts in the field and lab techs, well versed on the matter? Have they started uploading videos about this yet?
Have they addressed it?
Or have they willfully failed to do so because they know how this makes Ryan look and how this pokes holes in his story?
They don't want to talk about it anymore?
You don't want to break down this story anymore?
For your subscribers.
Like and subscribe. Like and share.
Like and share your brand of bullshit?
Did you think you sounded smart or something? Going up to bat for this fucking bozo so you can siphon a couple of followers off of him?
Parasites.
I would cite the lack of journalistic integrity, but then again, these guys are not journalists, and that's really what the problem is with how boxing is covered today. It's primarily covered by what are boxing fans, not boxing scribes.
Boxing shills.
Paid media for hire that'll spin a story however a fighter needs them to spin a story for a price. No, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys are paid.
Paid to shill, paid to lie, paid to spin.
You guys didn't believe Ryan was innocent. You're not that stupid. What you're doing is hoping to siphon followers off of him, that if you defend him, his followers will become your followers. Selling your souls for metrics.
What souls?
These are not men, like me and you. These are robots, soulless machines with no compass for what is right and what is wrong.
You think you're Neo? You're part of the system. You're part of the Matrix.
Part of the problem.
You're everything that's wrong with the sport today.
You and Ryan.
And finally, in men's heavyweight news, Eddie Hearn has said Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois remains the front-runner for AJ's next fight, particularly if the IBF heavyweight world title can be on the line. Press conference on June 26th to announce the full Riyadh season card on September 21st at Wembley.
My thoughts.
You can sell this fight with or without a full-fledged title on the line. You can sell this fight whether it's for a full title or an interim title. I don't know that the IBF are going to strip Alexander Usyk of the IBF, because before he fought Fury, the story was 2 weeks after the match, the IBF title will go vacant. Well, it's been more than 2 weeks since the fight took place, and they haven't stripped him. I'm not advocating that they do, by the way.
But it's been more than 2 weeks since the match, and they haven't stripped him.
Since then, Alexander Usyk's team have petitioned the IBF to allow him to keep the belt a while longer, long enough that he can bring it to the Fury fight so that that can be for undisputed.
It's bad optics if they strip him.
Why?
Because of who would be fighting for the IBF title in that scenario. Who would be fighting for it? 2 guys that he beat before? 2 guys that he beat already? He beat Anthony Joshua 2 times. He beat Daniel Dubois.
You're going to strip him of the IBF title to award it to 2 guys who he already fought and he already beat. That's bad optics, and it lessens the legitimacy of the IBF title, the IBF as an organization, and in that scenario, whosoever would emerge as IBF champion, Anthony Joshua or Daniel Dubois, if and when they make the fight between them, I anticipate that Anthony Joshua is going to win it. So in that scenario, he would be the one that emerges as IBF champion, but people wouldn't like that because you stripped Alexander Usyk to give him that opportunity, and Usyk already beat him. So I'm not sure that's the best thing to do for the IBF. The right thing to do might be to let Usyk keep his belt.
He can settle up with the winner of this fight in the coming year, if he still is there as a heavyweight, since he seems to have plans of moving back down to cruiser.
As it pertains to that, as it pertains to this, like I said, you can sell this fight between Anthony and Daniel with or without a full-fledged alphabet title. It still satisfies what Anthony wants, more or less it does. It puts him on the path of becoming a 3-time heavyweight champion because it is for an interim title.
Some names that are being thrown around. The name of Daniel Dubois, a desire to see Anthony fight Zhilei Zhang, maybe settle up with him. I guess the problem with that fight is that there wouldn't be an interim title on the line. Fighting Zhang and beating Zhang doesn't put you on the path of winning any alphabet titles.
Because Joseph Parker took Zhang's interim title, his WBO interim title, the one that he won from Joe Joyce, Joseph Parker took it from Zhang. So if it's about fighting in a fight in September that either gets you a full alphabet title or puts you on the path of winning one, it would be either Joseph Parker or Daniel Dubois. And of those two, let's be honest, I think most people would rather see him fight Daniel Dubois. Nobody's asking for a Parker rematch.
Go with Daniel.
It's a much easier fight to sell than a Parker rematch. In some ways, it's an easier fight to sell than a Zhang fight, and you get more out of it. You get an IBF interim title that lines you up for the IBF title, the full one.
AJ beats him.
I know that I've underestimated Daniel Dubois at least once or twice in the past, and I understand that. And I understand that he's improved, and he has a new corner, Don Charles, which has been beneficial for him. But this is not a morbidly obese Jarrell Miller we're talking about, and not an overrated, underwhelming Filip Hrgovic.
This is a different kettle of fish.
It's like some people hate to admit it, but Anthony Joshua is head and shoulders above those fighters. More battle-tested, more experienced.
Great amateur pedigree, better schooled, and more adaptable than either of those fighters.
With some of the same strengths that Daniel brings to the table, and some that he doesn't. Daniel makes it intriguing enough that you can sell it. You can definitely sell it, but if they make it, I have Anthony winning the fight. Inside of 6 rounds, I think he stops Daniel Dubois.
I think he knocks him out.
Something to look forward to at summer's end.